sun, chariot of fire, burning with desire as he runs the race. Half light, the moon is always knowing.
Do you need to move forward in your life? Are you stuck? Are you really in a block about one specific thing that you just, no matter what you do, you can't seem to get out of it? Well, guess what? I'm gonna give you the lowdown on how to get out of this pattern and how to move forward in your life. My name is Ashen. I'm a completion process facilitator, hypnotherapist, and parts work facilitator, as well as shaman. And today we're gonna get down into how to move forward in your life if you are feeling stuck, if you are feeling complacent, if you are feeling like no matter what, you just can't seem to get out of a specific block or pattern or experience in your life. First of all, I feel you, because this is so incredibly frustrating when we get into these places in our life. To start by getting an objective, universal perspective. When you came down into this life, your pre-birth intention chose into this circumstance, chose into this block. And that can be really painful to hear when you're going through it, and it sucks. But the reason that we're getting this perspective on this is to understand that if your soul chose this, it was for a reason. You chose this for a form of evolution, for a form of universal expansion, because this specific painful experience, this specific thing that you're stuck in terms of, is actually going to provide you with the exact understanding that you need to fulfill your purpose in this life, to help the humanity evolve and to create a different experience. We choose into these experiences because we actually want the exact polar opposite. And to understand that experience fully is to understand how to find what is wanted in the opposite way. We're going through this pre-birth intention because we have a mission on this planet and we want to create something. And if I want to fully understand financial abundance, I might want to go to the experience of poverty. If I want unity, I might want to fully go towards the experience of isolation. Can you see how if we are completely looking into what the experience of the opposite is like, we can understand how to get what we want better, and we're gonna feel more fulfilled when we actually get it than if it was just handed to us on a silver platter. We're going through this right now because humanity is going through this collectively, because humanity is in a deep sleep and we all need to do the work to get out of that. So we're going through the tough experiences to collectively help humanity do that. If you're needing to move forward, it's most likely that there's a theme in your life that you are sick of, that you are exhausted from, that you are ripping your hair out because of, or it might be a new block or a new experience of something horrible that occurred that you can't seem to get away from. Either way, it's like we have been pacing and pedaling and swimming in the same spot and we just can't seem to get over that lump. The most painful part about this experience is the resistance itself. The resistance itself tells us there is no way I can deal with this situation. There is no way this situation can ever get better. There's like no way that this situation is actually okay. It's like literally not okay to have this experience. It's never gonna be okay again. I can never get out of this. How am I ever gonna deal with this, right? And it's that thought of all hell is breaking loose that is actually where the pain is, and is actually where the resistance is, and is actually where the oh my god feeling is coming from. It's not actually the thing itself. The thing itself you could actually deal with because you are dealing with it. It's our reaction to it that puts you in this total hell span. And it's a natural reaction to have when you're going through some tough things. That we're not in a state of acceptance that this horrible thing is something that we're going through. We're not in a state of, okay, yeah, that thing is shit, but I'm going through it. I know that I'm going through it. I accept that I'm going through it. Now, how do we deal with it? We're not in that state when we're in resistance to the fact that the thing is happening in general. And if you're in a lot of pain with something, I can promise you that you're in resistance to it. Because when we are in resistance to something, we are fighting. When we're in a state of acceptance, we're like, okay, we're fully surrendering to the experience. And from there, we have more clarity on how to deal with it. It is a lot less painful if you can actually come into acceptance with whatever painful or bad experience you're currently having. You can do this by asking yourself, what antidote vibrational thought do I need to be thinking to make it okay that I'm going through this? And not that this thing I'm going through is actually okay, but that I'm like, okay, that makes sense. I'm going through this. It's gonna be all right at the end of the day. I can deal with this. We need to actually fully accept that we're in this experience, because when we're having a painful experience, oftentimes it is associated with a thought experience of resistance, non-acceptance. Our ego's number one goal is pleasure and happiness and to get away from pain. And so when bad things are happening, when things aren't going our way, our ego freaks out and it says, this is so not okay right now. I can't deal with this. This is never going to be okay again. I'm never going to go out of this. Why me? Why is this happening? This can't be happening. We start thinking thoughts that keep us stuck in a paradigm of non-acceptance towards that thing. And this is actually where the real suffering is taking place. We're already experiencing it. We can deal with it because we're in it. We are surviving because we're in it. It's not a pleasant experience, but we're there. So number one, we have to come into acceptance fully with the experience that we have chosen into and the experience that is happening to us, because both are simultaneously true. We have to come into acceptance by literally just sitting with the shock, sitting with the awareness that this thing is real. Okay, so I don't like the fact that it's happening to me, but it is really happening to me. Right now it's happening, and I have to accept that it's happening and let that reality sit in. And think thoughts to antidote the thoughts that keep you stuck in this painful paradigm. Like, is this really the end of the world? Do I really know for sure that my worst fears will come true? Do I really know that what I'm experiencing right now isn't something that I meant to be experiencing for some kind of greater purpose that will serve me? And can I understand that I'm not the only one going through pain like this? The next step after acceptance is we may have to fully take a break from the situation and hit the reset button. Oftentimes we are kind of going at it like a bull from the same mindset, from the same patterns, from the same strategies. And if you want to create a different outcome, we have to create a different method. We have to change what we're doing completely. And we have to clear our mindset to do that, because we've been coming at it from a place that feels powerless, that feels hopeless. That we have to start coming at it from a place of clarity, from a place of, I can handle this. We have to walk away altogether from even trying to make this thing different. We have to completely take a vacation from dealing with this situation. We can physically go somewhere on vacation. We can physically do something that hits the reset button. I'm talking about a physical reality shift, mentally and emotionally out of that situation for a good amount of time to make an actual impact on you. What can you do that is going to completely blow your mind, completely let yourself just reset, to just allow yourself to completely refresh and reset? A reset experience is something that is so different from what you're used to, so different from what you're used to doing, that is full of energy, that blows your mind, that overtakes you with a new experience of, oh my God, this is awesome. Allow yourself to completely just take a break from even trying long enough to reset. And when you come back to the game, it's gonna be with fresh eyes. During this reset, I want you to make a list of the patterns and strategies that you know that you're currently using. And I want you to get super specific and super clear on what those are. Okay, I've been trying to make more money, and my strategy may be balling through it, making myself work harder, and having a go-getter attitude that just bulldozes anything that comes my way to try to get what I want desperately. I might be using a pattern of doing this specific thing that is going to make me money over and over again, this specific task. Maybe I'm marketing by cold calling people or cold messaging people over and over and over again. That would be the action, that would be the pattern. And then the strategy is what parts of you are behind it, what intention is behind the way that you're doing things, and what mindset is behind the way that you're doing things. So distinguish and acknowledge how you're doing it currently. Acknowledge that this is not working for you. And then ask yourself, what would I rather be doing? What would I rather be saying? What would I rather be thinking? What would I rather be feeling? And the next step to this exercise is you're going to make another column or another list here. And this is going to be like a complete mind game on guessing. So this is no intention that what you're writing down has to be correct in any way. You are playing with the universe. You are playing with ideas on what strategy would work for you, what pattern or habit would work for you. I want you to make a game of getting as completely creative, crazy, and out there as possible, and just letting the mind flow and writing things down to think of what strategies or patterns actually would serve you in that situation. I then want you to educate yourself. Go to the internet, go to the library, go talk to people and ask the right questions or research the right information on your problem to say, what would you do in my case scenario? How would you deal with this? Can you think of a pattern or strategy that would better serve me on how to address this? And talk to people and get help in this situation to do things differently. Energetically in your body, the transformation from a place of acceptance is gonna feel like a space of relief, calm water. When you're fighting against the truth of something, it's gonna be this erratic energy that can't calm down. Allow yourself to sit with and observe the feeling and the sensations and the thoughts along with that thing long enough to accept that it's happening with you. And you will feel a transformation inside of you by observing the reality of that thing, taking note of all the consequences. So all of those things that you could be doing and all of the things that you're currently doing, I want you to make a list of all the potential consequences involved. And then I want you to, on that list, really think about which consequence is worse. Which ones are the ones that you do not want to choose, and which ones are the ones that you want to choose. By deciding which ones you want to live with. Consequences allow us again to evolve, and it is a reactive state within the universe that when I make a movement, there is a consequence to it. And oftentimes we are avoiding doing something because we see consequences in every direction we're looking in, and so we make the choice to not move in any direction at all. Sometimes you need to move forward knowing your consequences, choosing your consequences, and owning the power of that choice. Allow yourself to heal. If we are stuck in a situation and if we're in pain in a situation, there is some kind of trauma or emotional pain stuck underneath the surface. For this, you can go to my website and book a session with me for a completion process or a package of sessions to help actually integrate this trauma. When we have a desire that we want really badly, usually when we're stuck with something, there's either an opposite experience or desire that we're after really badly. When we want something so badly, we need to ask ourselves, what would it look like if I never got that thing? What would that look like? What would that feel like? I want you to play out fully and fully experience in your mind and journey into the worst case scenario and really be asking yourself through that experience, is this so bad? Does this actually mean that I can't get pleasure or experience happiness outside of this thing happening to me? Is it really true that I can't deal with this thing? Is it really true that my life is over when this thing happens? And is it really true that I can't get out of it and create a different experience if this thing really happens? A lot of the time, we are in this intro state in resistance where we're looking at something from a bird's eye view, trying to avoid pain and avoid a bad experience. So we're kind of watching the trailer to a movie, and from that trailer, we're deciding how that movie is going to play out without ever watching the movie. We're not actually thinking about what it's actually going to be like or feel like, or if we can actually deal with it. We're stuck in the intro of how bad it would be. And we're stuck in the resistance and the fear on how bad it would be. We're not actually giving ourselves a chance to understand and observe that thing that we're afraid of so much. We need to fully let ourselves have clarity on that thing, understand that thing, and allow ourselves to release resistance on that thing. Okay, if that happens, it freaking happens. I'm gonna deal with it somehow. That's the state that we can kind of get in when we actually play out worst case scenarios, because then we're actually facing it head on, letting ourselves process it, and beginning to learn how to actually deal with it instead of staying stuck in a state where we've decided that we can't deal with it. When bad things happen, ultimately, you're always going to be able to deal with it. You're always going to learn how to deal with it. You're always going to have to, because that bad thing hits and you have to react from that. You don't just pop out of existence. There has to be a reaction afterwards. And so when we're in that intro state, we're kind of like seeing it as like this pop out of existence state. Like, oh, I'm literally not going to be able to deal with it. Pop out of pleasure. I'm never going to have pleasure again. Be and end all in our mind. But when that thing actually occurs, no, we're going to learn how to deal with it. We're gonna have to react to it in the moment. We're gonna have to actually accept that it happened, and we're gonna have to actually do something accordingly because of it. And yes, we can get to a state of pleasure again. No, it's not gonna end our entire life. Yes, a different thing can happen afterwards. Stop being scared of something from the distance and being afraid of the intro to it, the trailer to it, and really spend time experiencing what that worst case scenario would actually be like and how you could actually deal with it. I hope that this video was helpful for you, and have a beautiful day.